things there like we cover it in the video next week. Like they got the FF14 devs to play Kata and Mop.
Yeah,
because it was like that era to make A Realm Reborn.
Yep.
So it's very interesting that the resurgence, the grand resurgence of this game, is actually born from World of Warcraft's first real dud expansion in Kata, even though Kata does have a lot of great shit in it, but it does have its issues too. And then Mob, which, was, I guess, a curveball that kind of left everyone dazed and confused initially, but, you look at that in retrospect, you're like, God damn, what a time that was.
The systems in that game were fantastic.
Yeah.
And the content was pretty damn good too.
Yeah, so it's...
Like, I would almost say Final Fantasy feels most like Mists of Pandaria out of anything else.
Yeah.
And that's not like a fully formed thought. It's just generally the experience I had. At the end, I'm like, yeah, I just have loads of shit to do. And it's all good.
Yeah, it does feel like they are doing so much more with a less budget. Like, I don't know, man. Yeah, it seems like they really get a great bang for their buck out of everything they do. And, I look at, like, what a modern WoW update has, and honestly, it feels cheap.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure that their big fancy CG, cinematics and stuff won't feel cheap. And, the raid environment's gorgeous and all that stuff's cool and stuff. But, I kind of look at, like, the other things, the way that they get game time by throwing you through the stuff we covered with the contests and all that. And it's like, it feels cheap. It feels cheap how they're getting me to play the game via, those very modern, endlessly repetitive things versus just having a whole lot of content. And then I just kind of wonder, why is it that it seems like it's so expensive for Blizzard to make content versus, these guys? It could be that these guys are working in a more modern engine or whatever.
Almost certainly. They rebuild after 1.0, as far as I can tell.
Maybe the average salary is lower. I mean, I don't really know. Cost of living in areas of Japan is very expensive, but perhaps it's higher in Cali. I don't know
that either, actually.
I don't know, but it does feel odd that FF is able to punch so above its weight and that WoW punches so below its weight.
Well, I think I think some of it comes down to the production angle, like I was saying before. Where
Yoshi being a producer.
He's a producer, so he produces really well, and he knows everything. Like, he's just really good at his job, it seems, in every capacity. But otherwise, he wouldn't be given like producer role in FF16. Like, that's a big weight to bear while also being on FF14 still.
We got Isel Fulham saying, "WoW's big budget goes to Bobby's $1 million extra paycheck."
See, that's kind of one of the things. I mean, I'm sure the Square Enix executives are paid well, but they still take the. Would you ever expect to see Bobby Kotick at BlizzCon?
No.
Square Enix CEO was at FanFest.
Like, of course he was.
Yeah. That's how they do things. Actually, that's how they do business. There,
it feels obvious to me that's how it works. Yeah.
But there's one more important thing that I kind of want to say about how they get away with, but how they get more from less, and it's because they kind of do implement less. Because, like, there's bigger lumps of content everywhere, but if you think of like how many raid bosses are in expansion.
Oh, it's not as big as WoW. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a raid being Eden. That's 12 bosses. They released that over an expansion. I mean, there's the Alliance Raid, which is another like 10 or so bosses. But that's still like 20, 25 bosses over the course of an expansion, which is a bit smaller than, like the 8 like dungeons full of bosses. And then, you've got your raids full of stuff and really massive environments and all beautiful and stuff. But I would take Eden 1 through 12. I would take that over all of BFA put together. Because they made so much out of that. Not in terms of gameplay content, but in terms of experience content. Because the quests that they go through there, where it's literally just, all right, you've beaten E1, here's some dialogue, here's some story scenes. You beat E2, here's some more. So by the end of Eden, there are not two new characters, there's a new character and a character that I already know. And I care so much more for them, and they've been through so much as this raid's unfolded, that I care significantly more about all of the events there than I do about anything that happened to BFA. So generally,
a raid unfolding over a whole expansion.
Yeah. Eden. I think Eden was from 5.0 to 5.5. How is it 5.3 or 5.4?
It's so interesting because it's like
it was released in wings of 4 bosses at a time. I believe.
My head is so locked within the idea of of WoW, right? My head is like so I hear that and I think, well, what about the seasonal item levels? And that's like instantly where my head goes because I'm a WoW player, and
Well-
then I'm just kind of realizing, oh wait, in that game that shit doesn't exist or matter.
Yeah, well,
Whoa.
it's split up. It's like Eden 1 through 4 is one tier. Eden 5 through 8 is a different. It drops higher item levels.
Oh, it's starting 5-1 apparently, according
it's starting
to
5-1,
one of our
yeah.
members. Mistra.
Yep. So it's just there you go. Yep. 501, 5-2, 5-4. Yeah. 4 fights in each, and that doesn't sound like a huge amount of content.
No,
But
it doesn't.
It doesn't matter because I log in, I do it, and I'm happy. And then I go do some of my crafting jobs or my gathering jobs or level other jobs, or I not when it's current because I've never played the game with like current content that's coming out. But like I did E11 5 times in a row the other day. Why did I do that? Because there's no weekly lockout.
Because the weekly lockout's only the most recent
Yeah.
bit that came out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just like for normal raids at least. So I did E11 normal. I did that 5 times in a row because I really like the fight. I like the fight. I love the mechanics of it. And I also was getting like tokens for gear the whole time.
So you're just able to do it.
Yeah, I just queued
Yeah.
up. And as long as the other people were doing it, which they were, there you go.
Can't do that in WoW. Interesting.
Yeah. And that's like,
But I guess it's like the setup of the item level. So, in WoW, it's like even if the past... Well, actually,
yeah.
hang on. Hang on a sec here. So what would
Big
happen
thinking.
if when Sanctum of Domination comes out and Blizzard then make it so that Castle Nathria
No.
is not on the loot lockout?
Yeah.
Now that would mean if we wanted to gear up a few alts in our guild, we could do a turbo run of Nathria
Yeah.
and funnel the gear to them.
Yeah.
But we could just do that as much as we would want to.
Yeah.
And that would be an alternative for those people to gear themselves up to doing, say, Korthia or whatever.
Yeah.
That seems quite positive to me.
Yeah, that's...
And it seems like a way of keeping the previous raid actually being gameplay.
Yeah, that's...
You then just want to, I suppose then, and this is where, you sort of bang your head off the wall and think, oh, wait, they had this right in TBC. Because then if our mains got, justice points
yeah.
for doing that, we'd feel happy to do that.
Yeah.
And then WoW would be less small at the end game.
Yeah.
Why do they not do that?
Because players wouldn't be subbed for 6 months while they re-cleared for transmog.
Oh, yeah, because then you want transmog, so you...
Yep. Artificially inflating gameplay time, as opposed to, do you want to have fun? Have fun. Or you're not having fun anymore? Goodbye. See you when we release our next patch. Which, as the super from Josh O said, FF14 patches are very predictable. 0, 2, and 4 are the raid tiers.
right.
1, 3, and 5 are the 24-man raids. Each patch also has an EX trial. So you just, they've got this big plan, and they go, right, next expansion, what's going here, here, here. They go, well, here's the story. Okay, everyone get to work, and then everyone gets to work, and you're like, that's class. That's put incredibly. So I just,
I just sat there and was like, how can we... And I was like, oh, but that's that thing, the setup of WoW means it's impossible for the previous raid to matter. Then I realized, oh, wait, no, it's not.
Yeah.
We could actually do that quite easily.
Yeah. Also, then, well, I mean, there is catch up in FF, so you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but it seems cool to me anyway.
Yeah, you can.
That
You
it's an
can.
option.
You can buy you can just buy crafted gear that crafters have to make because they have to be level 80 and have good gear and good skill to make. So
Well, it's even just the idea of like, oh, hey, Jim Bob in the guild needs a weapon token. Our guild has unlocked the I've forgotten weapon tokens. I don't know, but say you can, the way you can, you re-clear bosses enough, you complete the quest, and you can skip your lockout to that boss.
Yeah.
It's like, we're like, okay, Jim Bob and Bob Jim over there need 2 weapons. So we're just going to go and we're just going to re-clear Sludge Fist 5 or 6 times. We're going to get them their weapons. There you go. That's a night of gameplay for everybody. And the other people have earned a bunch of justice points and happy days.
Yeah.
And that would work and be better for WoW.
But then people would find out the quickest boss to kill for justice points and just spam it all day. And then those players would be probably maybe imagination unhappy.
No, fuck them.
Yeah, they can do what they want.
Fuck them, because clearly they could do that in FF if they wanted to, but it doesn't seem like it's a problem from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if it was for justice points, it's like, and surely a mythic raider wouldn't even care in the first place anyway.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to think about.
It's just the idea of lockouts being disappeared is really interesting. I mean, there is what I call it. There are weekly lockouts for Savage.
Oh, of course,
There are weekly lockouts for like Gear That Matters. There's weekly caps on your Valor equivalent, which are Revelation tomes at the minute. So you do want to do that stuff for getting, like, it will take time to get your Abyss gear.
Yeah.
But if you're hopping in at the point where like I am, I just, I actually turned down Tom's offer of a full 5-10 set because like, no, I'll just go through Eden. Going through it anyway, might as well get some
You
gear.
wanted to earn it, yeah.
Yeah, and there you go. Got a pile of gear. And because I've done it anyway, I've gotten a load of... Because I've done them after it's relevant, because it just drops a flat amount of loot.
Yeah.
And I can get it all if I wait, and everyone else leaves because no one needs gear from E1 to 4. So I can just go and get the full E1 to 4, which I'm still wearing the Eden Call, which I think is the E1 to 4 gear. I'm still wearing the Eden Call jacket because I think it's like the best of one. So I just got that because I played E1 through 4 and no one else needed loot, so it all went to me. Because you get tokens. I just funneled all this token gear.
Yeah.
That's
interesting. So we got a super from 12 deck boxes who said if you're looking, this is a content recommendation, if you're looking for a bit of history on bugs during raids and stuff, I would recommend looking at the history of Final Fantasy XIV raids by Mr. Happy.
Mr. Happy is definitely a name that I see quite a lot.
All right, I'll have to queue that up then at some point and take a look. We've got Renigen saying, I love FF14 to bits, but I will say its biggest and weaknesses are, number 1, not much raid content at once, 4 fights typically, which I think we've just talked about, and 2, no level of repeatable content like Mythic Plus. Just lots of content to do. I guess there's a bit of me that wonders, there is so much content to do. Is that why we don't have the repeatable content? And if we had lots of repeatable content, would that lessen the incentive to make lots and lots and lots of content? Therefore, if there was repeatable stuff, there would be less content to do.
Yeah.
Because the dev priorities would shift towards optimizing the repeatable content instead of committing lots of fresh spend of making lots of big expensive new things.
Yeah. I think it's that case of I think it's a nice spread where most players are happy enough. And I think people who really like Savage and Ultimate raids are probably kind of seething, going, where's my next Ultimate? So they're like, sorry, we had to can it because COVID. You're like, you bastards. Where's my content? I'm going to go play another game. But then they're like, they don't mind too much because we haven't earned your sub for that time because there's no content. Off you go. Enjoy playing other games. But we hope you're back for the next expansion where we will have the Ultimate we're missing. We'll have raids. And I think that's kind of, everyone's happy enough.
Yeah, it's I'd wish that their metric is, whenever a patch comes out, how many months of content can we give somebody? And that's the thing, instead of how many months of content can we get out of this?
Yeah.
And then you see Blizzard, do some of the things we talked about in the WoW News segment of today's video.
Yep.
So that is all very interesting stuff.